interview.
Oh, good morning. What time is it over there?
Oh, it's
9?
9 in the morning, Monday morning here in the
Woo!
Philippines.
Just starting your day. Well, it's
Yes.
set to be a good day. I'm so happy that you invited me. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
So, yes, no, I should be the one to thank you and your handler, Mama Carl, for arranging this interview. I didn't realize I'm already talking to a front runner for the upcoming Miss World pageant.
Oh, I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so everyone has their favorites. I'm honored to be included in some of those, but the competition hasn't even started yet, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yes, yes. How are you feeling right now? Oh, by the way, can you give a little introduction about yourself for the benefit of my viewers who may not know about you yet?
Yes, hello, everyone. Mabuhay, Philippines. I'm Athena Crosby. I am representing the United States of America at the 72nd Miss World Festival. So, just in 2 short months here, I was born and raised in California, which is where I'm currently calling you from. I actually was able to make it back home. And yes, I've been doing pageants for 20 years. So, this is my grand finale of doing Miss World, and it means the world to me.
Wait, you're still in California? I thought you're in Miami right now, like you said before.
Yes. I was in Miami for a few engagements that I had this weekend, but unfortunately I got really sick, so I had to come back home and recover. So this is the first day of kind of feeling a little better.
Back to Miss World. How are you feeling right now that the pageant has an actual date and venue for this year?
I'm feeling relieved. We were all sitting on the edge of our seats waiting and hoping for an announcement, and Miss World definitely kept us on our toes, but I couldn't be more excited that it's in India. I heard such great things about it last year from the girls who went. I know their hospitality is just unrivaled. I'm really excited to experience the country I've never been.
And for sure, you also heard a lot of things from your national director.
Of course, yes. The
Mystery,
family,
right?
yes, the family that directs Miss World America, the Saini family, are Indian American. So I've gotten to dabble in the Indian culture a little bit while out here spending time with them. And it's something that I've definitely fallen in love with. So I can only imagine what it's like actually in the country. And hopefully I'll get to use some of the little, I guess, pleasantries that I've learned from them
Yeah.
in conversation with people, and just getting to interact with the public will be amazing.
Which aspect of their culture so far do you find fascinating the most as you prepare for Miss World and probably looking forward to actually feel and experience it once you're there?
I am half Latina. My mom is from Venezuela, so I grew up with the Latin culture in my household. And I've come to find that Indian people have a lot of similarities with Latin culture. They love to sing, they love to dance, and they love to cook. And those are three big things in Latin culture. So I feel right at home. And I feel like if if all else fails and you don't have anything to do, just start singing, start dancing, and start cooking. I think I'll get along fine just with everybody in
You
India off of those
love
three things.
so you love to sing and dance.
I do, and I know Filipinos do too. I could
Yes.
never go up against a Filipino person in a karaoke or dance competition. Like, it's game over for me.
You do karaoke over there too?
We love karaoke here in the States, and I do too, but for some reason, Filipino people, they'll beat you every time. They practice from the day they were born, so I'll need some tips from you, Adam.
So what song do you play once you hit the karaoke?
Oh, I get torn up between a few of my favorites, but there is a song called "A Thousand Miles" by Vanessa
Oh,
Carlton.
but
Have you
I
heard that
love
one?
that song too. Yeah, I
I
love that
love
song too.
it too. It's
Big
such a
Yellow
good song.
Taxi, 1,000 miles. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And people go crazy for it. The audience always loves it, so it's good for audience participation.
So I assume you'll be preparing a song number for your talent showcase in the upcoming pageant.
Certainly, I will be preparing to sing, and I also hope to play an instrument as well. I'm still deciding. I play a few different instruments, so I'm still deciding which ones I want to incorporate into my talent. But I'd love to be not only a singer but a musician and showcase both of those in the competition.
That's great. Whoever's, I for sure your national director is, giving you a lot of advice because if there's a genre that you have to zero in for your talent showcase in Miss World, well, this is just my observation, is that you have to zero in on those classical music, classical or opera music, because I feel like I don't know if you've been watching a lot of Miss World editions before, but they seem to prefer ladies who can really sing or belt out classical songs.
Oh, for sure. And I know
Yes.
with Julia Morley, she comes from a different generation, right? Where I think those songs were more popular. So I can assume that she would have an appreciation for that for sure. So who doesn't love a good
Yeah,
classical
there's a,
Broadway
there
or
is
Disney?
yeah. And and I think you being a good singer can actually be an advantage for you because some of the past winners are really good in singing. Like the one who just won Mr. World earlier this year. Oh, late last year. Yeah, he was really good in belting out classical music. And then 2019 Miss Jamaica also sang, and then there were a lot of contestants who won Best in Talent just by singing a beautiful classical or opera music. So in good
Yes, there are
company.
so yes, there's so much talent, and I cannot wait to see what every girl brings to the table.
What about for the upcoming? What about for the Dances of the World segment? Do you have also something prepared
I
for it?
I mean, to be honest, I'm not the best dancer in the world. So there might be some girls that have trained much longer than me who will definitely
Mm,
showcase all that training. I just want to go out there and have the best time. I know the United States has a few different traditional dances. We've got like line dancing, step dancing with our Southern culture and cowboys. So I'll definitely try and incorporate some of those moves, but I'll probably just hope the judges aren't looking and move on to the next girl because I'm not a good
for
dancer.
sure, you'll definitely have fun over there. Oh, I envy you haven't been to India before, so this is really. Will this be your first time in
It
Asia?
will be. I've been to Asia. I've been to South Korea. That's the closest that I've been to India, which I know is a totally different culture, but I've done a few long haul flights. And I think if you give yourself a day or two to adjust, you can go anywhere in the world, and everywhere in the world is similar at the end of the day. It's a small world.
Have you been researching about your host venue for the pageant? They said that it will be very, very hot and humid by May in that part of the globe. Yeah.
That's what my mom was telling me. She was saying it's going to be hot, so prepare yourself. And although it is good to be prepared, I'm optimistic in thinking that the universe will have our back and God and everyone will keep the climate temperate so that we can survive all month long. So all my fingers and toes are crossed.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure, you'll be bringing a lot of sunscreens, light
Sunscreen, bug
dresses
repellent.
for your
Yeah,
for your pre-pageant activities.
yes. Lots of bug repellent and sunscreen. Those are my two best friends.
Yeah, yeah. So, have you learned a few words, a few local words to get you by once you arrive there?
I'm learning some. I definitely know namaste because
Namaste.
that's
Yeah.
a classic greeting. And I also learned through my directors the notion of calling someone G, which is a sign of respect that you put after their name. So, I'll say Adam G,
Adam
or someone might call me,
Gigi.
right? It
Yeah.
fits perfectly with your name already. So I think that's a great sign. But you could say Athena G, and it's spelled J-I, but it's a way to dignify somebody and let them know that they're someone important. So I'll be using that one on everybody at Miss World for sure.
Sure, sure. So, at this time of the competition, or at this time of your preparation, how is everything going so far for you?
It's crunch time. We only have 2 months left until the big day, and that means that I'm really honing in on those last minute details. But to be honest, this is something I feel like I've been preparing for many, many years, much before I was crowned at my national pageant. It's been a dream of mine for so long. And life is the best preparation. So in my career, in my pageant history, doing other pageants, all of this has taught me lessons that I'll take with me to Miss World. So even though it's such a short time until the pageant, I feel like I am prepared to really just showcase the best version of me and the woman that I am.
Is there such a thing as over preparation or preparing enough for a contestant like you going to a pageant like Miss World? I'm curious to ask.
In my opinion, all you can do is 50%. To me, success happens when preparation meets opportunity. So you do your 50%, which is you prepare as much as you possibly can and in the best way you can.
Mm-hmm.
Then that 50% comes from the experience, the environment, somebody giving you the opportunity. So that's going to be that month that we're there, getting to interact with the other girls and really just living in and relishing the moment. And then coupling that preparation with opportunity, that success will happen, right? So in my mind, I'm only preparing 50%, and then the other half is what they're going to give me. So you don't have to go in 100% ready to go. You just have to do your part. And that's kind of my theory with competing.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. You can only prepare for, for as much as you can, but at the end of the day, it depends on what you will be, expecting, or for at the end of the day, it will all about everything that you will be experiencing on the ground. And if you try
Yes.
to relate it to your preparation, and for sure, if you prepared so much, you'll everything will just be so easy and light for you.
I can only hope. I am sure there will be bumps in the road, and no journey is totally without like
Mm-hmm.
mistakes and roadblocks. So I'm preparing for anything, but yeah, all I'm doing is my part. And then if Miss World organization sees that and they recognize that and they want somebody with qualities like me, then I do think that they'll reward that preparation and that success. But it's not up to me. So truly I'm just going in it with the best attitude I can.
Yeah, yeah. You know, as I was doing my research about you for this interview yesterday, I was really blown away by the level of preparation and your enthusiasm, or shall I say your authenticity, when it comes to what you stand for in this pageant. Oh, you're just, I feel like, the reason why you're touted as one of the front runners for the upcoming competition is your eloquence,
Oh,
especially when you talk about your BWAP project.
oh, that is so sweet. Thank you so much, Adam. And it means the world to me that you recognize that and that all the fans and bloggers recognize that because they see us working so hard to prepare for Miss World. And when you get a little bit of that positive reinforcement, it definitely motivates you to keep going. So I'm just so excited for the next 2 months.
So can you share now what your BWAP is all about? I can't wait for you to show it to the whole world, for all of us pageant fans to really feel your light and authenticity, especially if it's really coming from a personal experience.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity to talk about it. My Beauty with a Purpose is centered around advocating for people with disabilities and showing that people are not disabled, they're simply different, and that it's our perception of them that impacts their life more than anything. So, this is based off of a personal experience with my brother and my family. My brother Adrian is autistic, and when he was 13 years old, he scratched his name into the school sidewalk with the hopes of other kids seeing it and making him popular, wanting to gain friends. And unfortunately, the school didn't realize his disability and saw him as a kid acting out and decided to punish him by giving him a criminal record
Uh,
at just 13 years old. At 13. So he was a child, very much still a child. And this sparked a years long process of my family trying to go through the court system and the school to get his record cleared so that this didn't hang over his head into adulthood. But it ignited a fire in me because I realized that if this is happening to my brother, imagine how many other kids this is happening to, not just in the United States, but all over the world. So it's my goal in My Beauty with a Purpose to tell my brother's story and show how by changing the dialogue and the rhetoric of how we speak to people with disabilities, by opening up friendship opportunities, and by creating a societal shift to truly see them as equal. this never has to happen to another kid like it happened to my brother. So that is my BWAP, and it is something I've been working towards for the last 15 years. I'm so excited that Miss World has given me the opportunity to talk about this and to tell people what happened to my brother doesn't have to happen again.
For sure, it really changed your life. It really made a huge impact to your life as you also navigate through your own life as well.
Certainly, and I do really embody the Miss World mantra of beauty with a purpose, because I've discovered through this experience that at the end of the day, the title of Miss World America will go on to a different girl. Even the title of Miss World will pass on to somebody else, and eventually it won't be me. But my lifelong purpose is to be a big sister and to protect my brother and to provide for him and give him as much as he possibly can have. And that's a purpose that I was born with, that a pageant doesn't give or take away from me. This is simply an opportunity for me to talk about it and to inspire other people, because this is a message that needs to be heard, and it needs to be heard immediately to change lives. And that's why I'm so grateful for this experience. It's allowing me to be that voice.
True, true. And you're now amplifying it through the platform of Miss World.
Yes. So it means the world to me. No pun intended.
Yeah. Wait, I hope you don't mind me asking, but how is he right now? How old is he right now? And how has he coping up with the whole ordeal, or did this particular episode of his life impact also the way he's also living his life right now?
My brother is now 25, so he's not a little kid anymore. He's a big boy, which is really weird for me to say that, because he'll always be my little brother. And it certainly impacted his life in a negative way. I think he began to see himself as a threat to society and not as a functioning and contributing member of society. So what that experience told my brother was, hey, we're treating you as a threat. We're treating you as something different, but also something dangerous. So that's the mindset of, I don't understand what's different about this person. I'm going to choose to have ignorance and be afraid of them. When the reason why I'm here and I'm showing this message to people is that people with disabilities simply want to be treated
Yes.
equally. No better, no worse. It doesn't have to be all these special accommodations and everything you do and say. They just want to be seen as equals. So, unfortunately for my brother, I think it's a little bit too late for him to realize his full potential, but it's not too late for other kids if we can prevent this from happening to them, from them being seen as though they're outcasted by society and they're different and they're bad, then they can realize their full potential. And so, yes, unfortunately, it did impact my brother, but he is very supportive of me telling this story at Miss World. I have a picture of him wearing my crown and sash after I won, and I can really accredit a lot to him. So I thank him for his vulnerability in wanting to talk about this.
He's really making a huge impact to your life right now. So, I'm really amazed by the kind of support that you and your family has been giving him. I mean, oh God, like I can just only imagine how it was for your family when you were all going through your brother's situation, especially, when it came to dealing with your school, when he's with his school in terms of dealing with, with what he had done before. So, as you amplify your voice in propagating your BWAP for Miss World, what concrete steps have you done to implement your project or to lessen the stigma about how people perceive uh, children with or diagnosed with autism?
So there's really two ways that I want change to be made from talking about my brother's experience. And that's reaching individuals themselves and what they can do to make a change. And then it's also reaching systems like education or government system, which is where a lot of the macro change happens. So one thing I have promoted throughout my year and in my BWAP is changing the language that we use to talk about people with disabilities. I just had an Instagram live actually with Miss Uganda World, who has a similar BWAP because she has a brother with autism too. And she says that in Uganda, people still refer to those with autism as cursed and as having witchcraft, done to them. And so we don't have that same rhetoric here in the States, but we do have people saying stupid or retarded or other words that are meant to put people down. So that's a change I want everybody who hears my story to make. How do I talk about people with autism or other disabilities? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it using equality and empathy in mind, or do I have to do some more learning? And I also want to implement change to the school systems in the United States and across the world to allocate more funding specifically to training people on what it's like to interact with somebody with autism. So that's the school resource officers on campus, the disciplinarians, the teachers. By showing them what happened to my brother, I can say, this is how you can avoid this situation in your school if you just give a little bit more education. So those are the two major things that I'm campaigning for in my BWAP.
I can agree. I can certainly agree. I think the most important thing we can get out from what you have been advocating for is for people to really be more empathetic when it comes to dealing with them. Can you say that, for us to be more empathetic, we should be more patient uh, in dealing with them? Yeah, because one's patience can really go a long way in certainly handling a situation like this.
Patience is a virtue, and it's something I've learned much of in my experience with my brother, as well as my parents and all of our friends. I also want to encourage people to speak up and ask questions. It's okay to ask people, what are your needs? Or is there anything about you that we should know? Do you have a disability of any kind? Like if you see someone in a situation where they might be in need of help or in danger, don't be a bystander and just stand by and do nothing while they are being bullied or ridiculed. Like, speak up and ask them, is there anything I can do to help? I can't imagine how many times my parents would have been saved from embarrassingness and talking to people about what my brother's doing. If somebody had just stepped in and said, hey, it's okay, let them do what they need to do. Hey, is there anything I can do for you? Is there any way I can help you? So I think patience and also helping people be service oriented of not how can I do to make this situation more comfortable for me? What can I do to make this situation more comfortable for them, for someone else? Thinking about others before yourself.
And I think for me, in my limited knowledge about this whole topic, I think yeah, you're right. The government has to really implement ways for us to really address this in such that we'll address this topic with a kinder perspective. Maybe, if the government could implement this in our educational system as early as probably kindergarten. Yeah, because instead of allowing these kids to be exposed to different languages by learning other languages like Spanish, Chinese, Mandarin, and doing a lot of, or also organizing a lot of GMRC classes, good manners, right conduct, we could also, include this in the curriculum of these schools so that we can, especially if we're talking about kids who are also studying and who will be also be studying in that particular school who has that kind of medical condition, then all the more that we can really experience it firsthand how to deal with them at the onset, so that by the time they grow up, by the time they finally reach adolescence, they can finally, these people or these normal kids can finally learn how to deal with someone who's afflicted with that kind of medical condition. I don't know. It just hit me right now.
No, that's very true. And I think exposure is key, right? It's exposing people to things that they've never seen before. that helps them grow and learn and understand. So that's part of the reason why I chose my BWAP and why it's so extremely personal to me is it's because it's a story that my family went through to where we don't have to tell other people, you have to do what we say and you have to just trust our judgment, but instead say, this is what happened to my brother. What's something in your life that reminds you of that? Because we don't all have disabilities and we don't all have a personal connection to this, but we all know someone who has autism or some other form of a disability. Maybe that'll make them think of their friend or their brother or their family member and want to protect that person and help care for them. So you can't refute personal life experience, right? It's just simply true. People lived out their experience and it's their truth. So that's why I aim to structure it like I'm doing, really sharing my truth and what my family experienced so that people can take whatever message they want out of it.
Do you hope for a better future about kids diagnosed with autism?
I do. And I also want to offer support for the siblings and the family members who are working hard to make that future a reality. People often think that if it's somebody with autism, they're the only ones who are experiencing tough times. But it's also their family, it's the people who loves them and the people who are around them who can see the way that the world looks at them and treats them and wants something better. A lot of autistic people can advocate for themselves. There's people who are very outspoken and very comfortable online having these dialogues, but my brother isn't. He's very shy. He stays in his room. He doesn't leave the house. He has anxiety. So I stepped up into that role to be able to talk about what he went through. And so I want to offer support for other people who are doing the same thing, who deserve to be heard. So I hope to represent them as well.
You know, listening to you for the past 15 minutes already talking about your BWAP, I really feel like this has made you a better person. And for sure, you're now considering this as a lifelong mission.
It is. It's a lifelong mission, and it's my lifelong purpose. So I'm glad I get to share it with the pageant while I am in this position. And then for many, many years to come, I hope to continue this work and this advocacy. It's not something that will ever leave my scope of vision. So it's very important for me.
You know, I asked that question because you know how it is when people look down on pageants nowadays because of its superficiality. But when we relate it or when we relate it to something that's really happening in our midst, it really makes you realize how the platform of pageantry is a very crucial aspect of how we communicate as a community in exchanging ideas, fostering ideas, in making this place, you know, how cliche this, as cliche as this may sound, a better place to live in.
I don't think it's cliche at all. And actually, there is a saying that has stuck with me for so long now, and it's something my mom came up with that I really like sharing with people because it was an epiphany for me. And it came from the movie Mary Poppins. Have you ever seen the movie Mary
Yes,
Poppins?
yes, yes.
Yes.
Classic movie. True.
Classic movie. Everybody loves it. Yes, Mary Poppins. It's so beloved. And in the movie Mary Poppins, they have a musical number called A Spoonful of Sugar Helps the Medicine Go Down. And it's this nanny who's trying to get these kids to take their medicine. They're not listening to her. So she'll dabble it with sugar so that it can make it more palatable so that they'll want to eat the medicine, right? And my mom told me, she says, Athena, this is analogous to pageants, right? Pageants are a lot of sugar. It's a lot of glitz and glam and heels and makeup. But at the end of the day, you strip all of that away. And what do you guys all have in common? Well, you have a message. You have a medicine, something that you want to share with the world, something that you want to do to make the world a better place. And this pageant is just a lot of sugar for them to get the message across, for them to listen to you. Because who doesn't love the spectacle of the pageant, right? And that was a game changer for me. I realized, Mom, you're completely right. This is the spoonful of sugar, and it's so fun, and I love it so much, that helps the medicine go down. So I think pageants mobilize beautiful young women to get a message across that's much more important than superficiality or beauty. And that was when I had a mindset shift for not just Miss World, but any pageant I'd done before, of like, this is why I'm really doing this. So I love telling people that nugget of wisdom my mom came up with.
There's just this sense of fulfillment that you
Yes.
feel whenever you, yeah, like what you said, like from something that you love to do, and at the same time be on, be purposeful in relating it to your community. No,
Yes.
that I think is how you drive your beauty to your purpose.
Yes. It is true. The beauty gets people's attention because we all admire beauty and it's something we all love, but the purpose and the message is really what captures people's hearts and what makes this so much more impactful than just a competition that lasts one night or a weekend or a week. It's the message that leaves people feeling inspired and feeling motivated to achieve whatever their personal goals are. So it changed my life, and I know that pageants can change anybody's life, whether that's as a contestant, whether that's as a journalist like you. How did you get into pageants? You gotta tell me.
Oh, as a fan, I just built my community just by being authentic with my reactions whenever I watch pageants, off or
Yeah.
online. Yeah, and I don't know. For some reason, this happened during the pandemic. We were all so bored, and it just stuck stuck with me to it. So until I gain such platform where I can gain my voice, express my opinions about all these issues happening in the pageant scene. So I'm also very grateful to be given this platform. And now I'm sharing it back to you girls who have a message to talk about or to amplify in a pageant like Miss World. I'm so happy
Yes.
for you. I'm so happy for you. When I was doing my research, my gosh, she gets to compete in pageantry, which I wish I could. No, I wish I was a girl. And then you're doing a lot of TV work. I'm seeing a lot of your TV interviews, and now you're competing in one of the most prestigious pageants in the world right now after 20 years. Like wow,
What a
wow.
life.
I'm sure
What a life.
it wasn't it wasn't so easy for you the whole time, but I can just imagine the satisfaction, the the happiness you feel for emerging victorious in every situation, anxiety, challenge that you went through in those 20 years.
Oh, there has been so many stories, challenges, and the challenges are far from over. This journey is an incredible one, but it's not without its obstacles. And there's been many times where I've been like, I'm gonna have a mental breakdown. Like, this is crazy. I don't know if I can do this. But then, the leaf will turn over and I'll go, wait a minute. This is everything that I wanted. The good and the bad that comes with it is all part of the experience. So, although we're scrambling to get everything ready for the fans and everyone to see at Miss World, I know it's all going to work out perfectly.
There's no doubt about it. With your national director helping you, your national director's work ethic when she was still competing as a candidate for Miss World is really insane, and for sure she has already
Yes.
given you a lot of tips and ideas how to strategize for the upcoming pageant. So, you know, you're competing against 100 women. So I'm curious to ask, how are you planning to stand out in the competition?
Hmm. This question gets interesting when you get to the international level, right? Because we are so different, but we're also very alike in a lot of ways. I look at it from the perspective of how did God create me uniquely to how what it takes to do this job? And one thing I believe was instilled in me from a very young age was that empathy and that purpose coming from being a servant to my little brother, knowing what it's like to put somebody else above myself. In my opinion, that's the work that Miss World does. You know, she sees communities of people who are in need, whether that be people with disabilities, people of different ethnicities or age groups, or even, you know, women's empowerment. And she says, how can I take myself and lift this person up? And that's something that's something that I've been doing my entire life, and I would love the opportunity to do at the international scale. I also come from a household with two cultures. My mom was an immigrant from Venezuela and moved to the United States, so I grew up speaking two languages and having two customs. And I think that uniquely positioned me to understand a variety of people from different walks of life, whether that be Americans, whether that be immigrants, and learn how to mend the two worlds together seamlessly. So that's also in the vein of what Miss World does. It's about uniting cultures and customs and traditions together to show that people can coexist. And against all the odds, my parents, coming from two different worlds, through their love, were able to create a life for me. So I'm living testimony and living proof of that dream. And so to me, that makes me unique to do the job of Miss World, because I know what it's like to live in that harmony of those cultures. Um, I mean, there's many reasons why I want to be Miss World. I think also my background in the entertainment industry helps me because it's allowed me the chance to speak to many different people, find out what's going on in the pulse of my city and in my community, and see what I can do to fill that need. So here in Hollywood, you know, there's movie premieres, there's glitz and glam, but it's also about meeting different people who give you opportunities and avenues to go somewhere and do something cool with your talents. And I think learning how to capitalize on those opportunities is something I've learned from my career in Hollywood too. So there's so many things that I want to talk about in this world. Those are
No,
just some of them.
no doubt about it. No doubt about it. You know what I really love about you is really you're very humble. You know, you despite your credentials, I don't know. You struck me as someone who's very kind, passionate, and very, very, very helpful to your community. And I love that. I love that. I hope that your light will definitely shine in the upcoming pageant. Thank you so, so much for allowing me to interview you for the past 48 minutes already. This has been such a thrill and honor to be interviewing a future Miss World or a
Oh,
Miss World
thank you so
potential.
much. Miss World anything. Just so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you so much, Adam, for reaching out to me, and thank you for supporting all of us girls as we go to Miss World. Not just me, but the other girls, because every single message, Instagram Live, we feel the love. And I want to thank you for reaching out and making this happen.
You're welcome. No words. So before I end this, I would like to give a huge shout out to Mama Carl for allowing me to
Yes,
interview you. This interview would
Carl!
not have been possible. For sure, he'll be the one to do. He'll be the one doing your gown for the finals, or
Oh,
probably one
Carl
of.
is a busy man. I have to get him on the books.
Uh
You
huh.
know, but he's been so helpful already in helping me style and figure out what I want to do at Miss World. So yes, we will definitely be collaborating on something amazing.
And I can't wait for that to
Thank you so
finally come
much.
into fruition 2 months from now.
Thank you, Adam. This was incredible. Thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome, and congratulations in advance. I can see you doing well in head to head. What else? Top model. Uh,
Not the sport
what are the other?
challenge.
No, not the sports challenge, but I just want you to enjoy the whole thing without minding the pressure
Thank
of
you.
of being a competitor, edging out your fellow, edging out the other 100 participants. But I just, you've wanted this for so long and really feel your fire and tenacity in doing this. God bless you, and I can't wait for you to slay it in the upcoming pageant.
Thank you so much, Adam. We'll be in touch. And thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you to anyone who's watching retroactively.
Yes.
Sending you guys love and hugs from the USA.
Yes, I hope to meet you soon in the
Yes.
near future. God bless you and good luck. Take
God
care.
bless.
Flying kisses all the
Thank
way
you
for
so
now
much.
from Manila right now. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.